I know you have another masterclass coming up. Tell us about that, because I know I'm going to join it. And I know there's so many people listening out there like, okay, I need a taste of this.
So my next masterclass is March 18th on a Tuesday at 12 p.m. again, so lunchtime. And it's all about self-care is such a huge word, and it means so much more than I think we think that it does. And so I'm going to providing strategies and tools that you can use to prioritize yourself without guilt. But we live in this hustle culture where it's like do. And it's how we were learned, taught and learned from past generations and what we see around us on social media and out in the world. And what's my purpose for surviving this? It also opened my eyes to, I haven't completely healed from that loss and that grief. And that's a huge part of not only my journey, but everybody's journey, because grief is universal and no one teaches you how to process it. It's really therapeutic for me to continue to share my story in such a vulnerable way, because it allows me to continue to do my healing. And I hope to elevate others' awareness and create their aha moments of, where do I still need to go to heal? Because I think a lot of people don't realize they have to go where they don't think they still need to go to heal. You have to feel to heal. And we're taught really not to do that well, right? Especially in professional environments. When things happen, you're really kind of taught to separate the two, right? Don't bring it to work. Don't talk about it at work. Certainly don't feel or express your emotions in a professional setting. How long has everybody been doing that, right? Let alone then maybe you get home and that's not even a safe place for you maybe. Or it comes out in a different way that you don't want it to. I think it's giving yourself permission that you have to feel to heal. I think the most powerful question when you're in moments like that, what's coming up for me right now in this moment is why. Ask yourself why.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Own Your Brand Show with Victoria Odekomaya. Imagine with me, you're 34 years old, you have a stroke, and then you maybe think or remember that this is the same age that your mom passed away from stroke. Just imagine that for a second. Who thinks that anyone at the age of 34 or even younger around that age would have a stroke? Well, my guest today is Jennifer Chapman. She is an executive coach. She's a speaker, a facilitator, and the owner of Just Commit Coaching. She had a stroke at 34, and she's gone through a healing process, which has now been a big part of what she does with people to have that inner healing. Today, she's going to be walking us through our journey and sharing with us tips and, things that we can do to go through our own inner journey as well. Without much ado, let's get into it. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm good. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, my goodness. So I cannot wait to hear the story of how this whole thing started. But before we go into it, can you just tell us a little bit more about you?
Yeah, so thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. So born and raised in Indianapolis, and I'm from the south side of Indianapolis, and went to Ball State and pursued a marketing degree and went into the world of sales 20 years ago, which is wild. So my background is primarily in sales, both corporate level and a couple privately or family-owned size companies, a couple different industries. I've now been a coach and facilitator and speaker for about 3 years.
Yes. Wow. So 34 years old, you had a stroke. Tell us what led into that.
Yeah, so the year before that, so I was in the corporate sales environment, and the year before that, I had the best year of my career. So I was on this professional high, and because I'm an overachiever and big-time competitor, I'm trying to go for another President's Club, and I was putting more pressure on myself. Looking back now, I know that I was. And as I was transitioning roles with that company, I was transitioning roles in March of 2017, and the day that I was supposed to meet my sales leader out in the field to kind of learn the ropes of the new territory, my body and life had different plans for me. So.
Wow. So as you were describing that, I'm thinking about all the overachieving women out there, that we're always go. We want to get, and I know that that's part of what you do, just helping us go through that whole inner journey, healing journey, but I know we're going to get there, but I'm just kind of drawing some parallel between what you're describing your life and a lot of people that I know out there,
Totally, because it's our culture.
Yeah.
Where we live in this hustle culture where it's like do.
Right.
And we've learned it's how we were taught and learned from past generations and what we see around us on social media and out in the world, and our body's tracking all of that. We're that's why so many people have chronic illnesses and stress causes so much damage, whether we're consciously aware of it or not, of what it's actually doing to us, until potentially we have to slow, our body's going to tell us to slow down before we give ourselves permission to slow down.
Right, right. And so along the way, I know you've done a lot of inner work, and I want to dive into all of that because that's what you help other people do too, right? But like at some point, you eventually figured out that was the same age that your mom, had a stroke and passed away too.
Yeah, and I want to clarify, she didn't pass from a stroke, but nonetheless, it was very, it was suddenly and quickly and tragically when I was 11 years old. And yeah, the stroke was kind of a wake-up call to know not only I was the same age she was when she passed away, and it's like, what's my purpose for surviving this? It also opened my eyes to, I haven't completely healed from that loss and that grief. And that's a huge part of not only my journey, but everybody's journey, because grief is universal and no one teaches you how to process it.
And that's what you do now.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. It's really therapeutic for me to continue to share my story in such a vulnerable way, because it allows me to continue to do my healing. And I hope to elevate others' awareness and create their aha moments of where do I, and question, where do I still need to go to heal? Because I think a lot of people don't realize they have to go where they don't think they still need to go to heal. I believe that.
Yeah, that's interesting. So like what does that process kind of look like when you say go to a place to heal?
I can provide you my specific experience and example of what because I didn't know what that really meant until I did.
Right.
And so it wasn't until 2021 when I started to explore my coaching certification and understand what does it mean? What kind of coach do I want to be? Who do I want to serve? I went through the process of utilizing the tools that I have to serve other clients now. I had to go through it myself. And so I was gifted this session in September of 21. I was gifted this session by a master coach, and I didn't know that was the day that I was going to go where I had to go, which was, as she was guiding me so beautifully, I basically had to go back and heal my 11-year-old self. The girl that lost her mom at age 11. I had not met her yet. And that's the root of where the work began for me, is to meet my 11-year-old self and to speak to her and tell her what she maybe has not yet heard from either me as the adult version of me, and also what she needed to hear from my mom that she hadn't heard yet. It was the most powerful session I've ever had in my life.
Wow. Just take us through that process as much as you can.
Ooh, she just said, she led with, and I had seen through the course of the year other women be live coached on our calls. Okay. And I saw them go where they had to go, because a lot of our healing comes from when we were kids. It all comes from childhood. Everyone's experienced some sort of trauma. Is a big word, and it can be little trauma, big trauma. If you have not resolved it, though, those parts of you are playing out. So it doesn't have to be as big as a loss, or divorce, or an abusive parent, or a parent that was not there. Right. It could have been, were you bullied? Were you not even seen as a kid because you had many siblings? So I guess I want to clarify that for your audience as far as get their wheels turning, is like, what did I experience as a kid that maybe I haven't really dealt with yet? Or there's a pattern of behavior playing out now that, it stems from when I was a kid and that's how I acted, or, And so for me, when she asked me that during the session, I told her my childhood looked really great until age 11. And then I had a sudden loss of my mom, and she said, okay, let's go there. And she said, what did your 11-year-old self need to hear from your mom that she hadn't heard yet? And I just had never been asked that question before. And it was really just comforting her and telling her, you're going to be okay. You can do this. And it was incredibly empowering, incredibly emotional, because then I could see my mom sitting in front of me, eyes closed. It was like, she's here. And I think that I had protected myself for, at that point, 28 years to know what a relationship with my mom could feel like until that very moment. And then kind of the guards came down, the walls came down. And it's like, I want to know that she's with me now every step of the way. And she has been.
Oh my goodness. I'm about to tear up right now, just envisioning all that looks like.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was powerful.
Yeah. So what lesson have you learned, from your healing journey, your experience?
Great question. I think I know
Mm-hmm.
that you have to feel to heal. And we're taught really not to do that well, right? Especially in professional environments. When things happen, you're really kind of taught to separate the two, right? Don't bring it to work. Don't talk about it at work. Certainly don't feel or express your emotions in a professional setting. How long has everybody been doing that? Right? Let alone then maybe you get home and that's not even a safe place for you maybe. Or it comes out in a different way that you don't want it to. And I think it's giving yourself permission that you have to feel to heal.
Right.
And I hired my first life coach in 2018, so about a year after my stroke, when I was mentally and emotionally struggling. I felt very, it was just this instability.
Right.
And it was also what I know to be true is like everybody needs somebody.
Right.
And this coach for me was my somebody. I had friends and family and they were wonderful, and yet they could only take me so far. And it was bringing this person into my life that provided this non-judgmental, non-biased, safe space for me to process. And I will also say that because when I would meet with her, I would cry a lot and I would apologize for it. Or I would try and push it down and tell her, like, I don't want to be crying anymore. I am done with this.
Well, it's kind of like that emotion that you were talking about
Exactly.
that we suppress.
Yeah, so that's what I was trying to do. And if you think about it, how hard is it to push back tears? Like, it physically hurts to keep it in.
Right.
And yet that's how we're trained. And so she gave me that permission to say, it's got to come up and out. Your body's telling you it's got to come up and out. So let it, because it only takes 90 seconds on average to let that emotion move through your body.
Right.
It's a lot harder to keep it in.
Right.
And so then if you continuously keep that in, once it does come out, it may come up bigger and louder than you even wanted to, versus allowing yourself to do it on a consistent basis.
Right. And I'm imagining, like you were saying, keep it in, I just imagine the aggregate of over time of keeping it in, and then the next thing in. And then it's like, I feel like eventually we're just going to burst.
Explode.
Yeah.
So that's a big lesson I've learned. And share with as many people as I can, if I can be your permission slip to do so. And it's been really incredible to see that when I speak to different groups or audiences, especially women, that their walls come down and that they show their tears, and it's welcomed. I want to see that. Because when I share with them, it's like, how hard is it to physically hold back tears? A collective head nod happens, right? Like, oh, it hurts.
Yeah.
And then it's like, we have to allow that.
Yeah.
Your body's telling you. And then the protective walls come down a little bit.
So I just shifting gears a little bit here. I attended one of your online masterclass last month, and it really helped me because you were helping us to shape how we like negative self-talk, and I've been using a lot of the things that you shared. No, seriously, because, I'm catching it and I'm reframing it. So in your experience, and I know you work with a lot of people, you do a lot of speaking on this topic, right? And to be frank, negative self-talk it's a big deal. And I think that a lot of us don't even recognize that it's there.
Right.
Because it's just part of our daily life and we just move on with it, So kind of like help us unpack that a little bit. What you're seeing, more with people as you, speak, as you do your classes.
Yeah. Great point. And I'll share that what I've learned and what I know is that we are hardwired for protection and we're hardwired for survival. And so our minds have been trained to keep us safe and comfortable by holding us back. So we have about 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of thoughts. A majority of them are repetitive. You hear them over and over again. A majority of those repetitive thoughts are negative.
Right.
It's what we call our inner critic. It's what we call the ego. That's our ego holding us back. And so my invitation when I speak to people is to lean in with curiosity and start to pay attention to your own inner voice. And that starts first thing in the morning when you look at yourself in the mirror. Right. Are you kind to yourself in the mornings in the mirror, or are we judging and criticizing?
Yeah.
That's the tone you're setting for your day.
Right.
And so if you can quickly catch that in the morning and start to have that relationship with yourself in the mirror and act kinder to yourself, that's going to set a different tone for your day. Other great examples, and the power of reframe is when we say when we say things like, I can't do this, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not ready enough, or I'm not capable enough, or I'm not qualified enough for that role. Your mind is going to find evidence of whatever you say is true.
Yeah.
So if you're telling yourself you can't or you're not ready, your mind's going to go into all the reasons why you're not ready.
So I have to tell you this. Sorry to cut you off.
You're good.
I actually taught my kids the same thing.
Look at you.
I was like, okay, I just learned this. And because it was like an experiment that I did after we had that, session. And I started seeing all the, like you called it like the proof, to support that negative self-thought, right? And so it was easy for me to explain it to them and say, okay, so you think that maybe something is wrong with mom because you haven't heard from me. Because, I'm just trying to give an example, right, to my kids. And then maybe you call my phone and I don't pick up. So you see, like that, there's another evidence. It's like, oh, maybe something is wrong. So it's kind of feeding into some of that negative thoughts, and I could see the light bulb just go up, go off in their head. And I'm like, well, maybe let's say you're watching TV and then now all of a sudden you're watching a YouTube show about someone losing a parent. And now so it was so real. And I feel like it's one thing that you said earlier that I'm beginning to pay attention to more is like you said, the trauma, they all kind of start when we were younger. So I'm trying to maybe kind of help my kids now that they're young before they, I'm sure I'm not perfect, obviously, but just wanted to give you that testimonial that your session helped me and now I'm helping my children.
That's powerful.
Thank you.
That's powerful because even if the words that you maybe aren't saying to them, they're watching you, right? They watch your behavior and the action steps that you take. So even as you start to retrain your mind to more of the positive, they're picking up on all of that.
Yeah.
So it certainly starts and ends with you every single day.
Yeah. And I'm trying to really empower them to start reframing their thought process. In moments that negative self-thought comes, like change it up because you have the power to change. That's what I heard from you too.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. You can take one thing away from when I speak or a conversation like this. It's the power of self-talk. And what does that sound like? And the tweak of one small word from, for example, if you say a sentence to somebody and then you use the word but, that you just negated everything they just said versus saying, I hear your point and I see it differently, or I'm going to take a different approach versus saying like, but I disagree with that.
Right.
It shifts. It's such a powerful shift. So it certainly, it starts with you. It's because that will then create the ripple effect.
Right.
Like you're talking about to your kids or to your spouse or to your coworkers. They're going to catch that. And it sounds different when you have such a positive tone or inflection in your voice versus the negative. And that's an energy thing too.
Right. Okay. So I know that, from a spiritual point of view, like when you say things into the world, it happens, right? But I also know that it starts with the thought process. So can you help me connect that? Because it seems like the moment you change that thought, then you're likely to say positive things that then, end up like, is there any relation between all of that? Like, how do you connect all of that dots?
Yeah, I definitely think there is correlation. The bigger universe and world, however you look at that or connect to that, it wants to work for you.
Right.
You're the only conflict or challenge or barrier that's going to get in your way is your own mind, is you. So whatever you put out into, again, talking to yourself and reframing it into a positive way, your mind's easily going to find all the evidence of why that's true.
Right.
And another example is like the power and practice of gratitude, like acknowledging the things that you're grateful for every single day, the world around you and your mind, you're retraining it to continuously find all the great things around you.
Yeah.
So, and I share that because it's really important and it's easy to practice that on a really good day. When you're having a really good day, you can rattle off 8 to 10 things that you're grateful for.
Right.
The power is when you're having a tough day, still being able to tap into what you're grateful for is going to continuously rewire your brain to allow you to continue to seek the really great things on the really tough days too.
So would you suggest, I kind of want to go into a little bit of like some of the tools that we can use to empower us to be, be ready for those tough days, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the tools? I didn't want to just preemptively say some of the things, but what would you say?
That's the practice of gratitude is certainly one of them. So whether you wake up first thing in the morning and write down 3 things, it's even what I've started to do more and more is do it at the end of the day, where you acknowledge what you were grateful for that day,
Right.
because that sets a positive tone in your mind before you go to bed.
Yes, I like that.
Versus beat yourself up potentially for the things you maybe didn't get done or you weren't satisfied with. Change it,
Right.
flip it, acknowledge. Yeah, I did these 3 things well, or I got to slow down and take 5 minutes for myself today, or I got to share a cup of coffee with a friend today, or I got to go for a walk with my dog today. Continuously find those things. The small things are the big things.
Yeah.
And so I think a really great practice to put in place is either do both if you want to, right? Start the day with a couple things that you're grateful for and end the day with what went really well versus.
So I've started this whole process of affirmations, just writing out some of the things that I want to happen, I want to see, and I feel like that list keeps growing.
Okay.
and and I don't know when is enough, but like the list. But I'm consciously writing things down that I want to speak into the world. I want to myself, particularly to my children, too. And would you say that affirmation is also a good thing to? Yeah.
Oh, it's such a great thing. And another thing that I've done that if you don't necessarily want to put them on a sticky note, still recommend, right? If you put them on your mirror, on your laptop screen, or in your office or in your car, is I've left myself a voice note.
Ooh, I like that.
Like a recorded, it's like 90 seconds, and I'm speaking what I'm already doing in the future. Like the vision I have for my future self. So it's my husband and I, traveling in our Airstream RV around the country. I'm able to work from wherever I get to work from. I'm sitting by, a river. I'm in the mountain. We get to go for a hike. We're walking with our dog. We're eating amazing food. Like playing that every day, like you're putting that into your future self, and you then continuously start to make decisions and choices based on how to get to that, your future self.
Yeah, that's powerful. I have to do that. I'm going to start doing that.
Try it on.
Leaving voice messages for myself. And sometimes even on a bad day, you can listen to that again and just kind of cheer you up.
That's right. I love, great example of don't just do it on the good days.
Yeah.
That's easier to do.
Yeah.
Great. Still do it. But try it on every day because it's going to hopefully make those tougher days a little less tough. Because if you don't, that tough day could continue, trickle into the next day.
Right.
And into the next day.
Yeah.
So it's important to know it's okay to not be okay. It's just not okay to stay not okay.
Okay, say that one more time.
Yeah. So there was an infamous phrase that was put out there a couple years ago. I think I don't know if the NFL did it or where I caught it.
Okay.
To acknowledge like it's okay to not be okay. It's just not okay to stay not okay.
Yeah.
Don't stay in it. Don't sit in it. I mean, sit in it. Just don't stay sitting in it.
Right.
Certainly don't negate or skip over the hard or the negative. Because that's all part of life. That's all part of being a human being.
Right.
It's part of it's why I do what I do is because I feel like I've done that well. I can navigate the hard really well. And it's what Brene Brown says, like embrace the suck. A lot of people don't want to do that because it's hard.
Yeah.
The longer you try and push away the hard or avoid it, it's going to make for a harder life.
Yeah.
Long term.
Oh my goodness. Wow. I feel like we're going full circle now because kind of where we started this conversation about like just pushing out all that emotions, we're kind of back there now. And it's just important to, what I'm hearing from you is just deal with it as quickly as you can and maybe even ask for help, from a coach like you or a friend, to say like, let's just talk through it, whatever that is, to process that emotion or what that situation is. And that on the long run, that's better.
Totally. I mean, I see it. The people I meet in the rooms that I'm in, I consider myself to be a very self-aware. That's also foundational, if I can say that.
Yeah.
That's a muscle that you continuously build, is the self-awareness muscle. A lot of people are not overly self-aware. And that spills out. Like it's an energy thing. I don't remember my point in kind of sharing that aside from I can tell the people when I go into a room that are and that are not. you kind of pay it. I see it, I feel it, I hear it, I know it. Who's willing to lean in with curiosity and do the hard,
Right.
versus the people that continuously avoid it, numb it, resist it, fight it. It just doesn't. It's not going to serve you. It might serve you today, right? Like in the short term, it will not serve you in the long term.
Okay, so I have to ask the question, for those that are, avoiding it, do you think there's a reason why they are avoiding, or they're just not aware, like you're saying?
They don't want to feel. You have to feel to heal. I can't reiterate that enough. People think that they can outthink their way through the hard, right? The loss, the tough, the grief. You cannot outthink your way through any of it.
Or walk through it, like I'm just going to stay busy.
Yeah, which is avoiding. So it's like asking yourself the hard question of what am I doing right now and why? What am I avoiding by doom scrolling, or by binge watching something, or by numbing myself by overeating or drinking, or whatever that vice is for you? What are you avoiding? A lot of people do not want to sit in the still, which is why I think it's also another powerful practice that I implemented 7 years ago, which is the power of meditation. I think a lot of people struggle to even understand what meditation is. Well, I can't shut my brain off. It's not meant to do that. Your brain doesn't shut off. But can you sit in it for a few minutes and kind of come back to breath and stillness and calmness? It certainly is not going to shut off your thoughts.
Right. Okay, well, I'm glad you said that, because the first time I tried to meditate, I felt like I was falling asleep. And I was like, I'm not sure if that's what I'm supposed to do.
That's not a bad place to be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. A lot of people struggle, they only give themselves 2 minutes and then they feel like they have to go do something. And it's like, that may be your tendency at first. I mean, I started with 3-minute meditations.
Okay.
Where you're sitting there kind of wondering, what am I supposed to do? But now, 7 years later, giving myself 15 to 20 minutes a morning, and it's guided. The practice I do is guided. He's such a great reminder for me every morning, like because he'll remind me to come back if you end up going down a rabbit hole, or start to think about what am I going to wear today, or what meetings do I have today, or I don't want to go to this thing tonight. Whatever you're saying, he reminds me to come back to the breath and just start to count your breaths, and it's served me really well to then, in the external chaos of life, when things get loud, I can remain pretty calm.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So I'm sitting out here thinking, for those people that are out there that don't even know that they're avoiding things, or, or that they have the issue that needs to be resolved, what is one thing that you could say to them right now that would hopefully turn that light bulb on and say, okay, wait a minute, I need to deal with something, whatever that is,
Yeah, that is such a good question.
Because I'm just thinking, like, we're having this conversation and people are like, do I fall in that category? Do I need services? Like, do I need to talk to Jennifer? You know what I mean? Like, because
I think the most powerful question when you're in moments like that, well, I mean, what's coming up for me right now in this moment is why. Ask yourself why I'm doing this, right? I'm on my 3rd glass of wine, or I'm numbly eating right now at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, which is where sometimes I struggle, truthfully, between lunch and dinners. Like, why am I really hungry, or am I avoiding doing something right now that maybe feels hard or challenging or tedious, or what am I procrastinating on? What am I not doing?
I like that.
It's a hard question, right? It's way easier to continue to eat the thing.
Definitely easier.
Yeah, or go, meet up with a friend, or watch another episode of something. Is asking why. And that could go layers deep, continuously asking why. I mean, it's like being a 5-year-old. Yeah. They're really inquisitive. Wow. We as adults sometimes are not, because we're avoiding something.
Yeah. And I think also that paying attention is also important, because if you're not even aware that you're just watching TV, sitting on there, or just eating, you can't even ask that question, why? You see what I mean? Like,
100%.
because we're mindlessly just doing things because.
Right. And then you potentially have this remorse. For me, right? Like this eater's remorse. And maybe I'm really self-aware, so I can catch myself before 3 or 4 years ago where I would eat too much and then beat myself up.
Right.
Where now I'm like, okay, you don't need, this isn't serving you right now. Like take a step back. But again, it comes back to kind of self-awareness, to your point. And you have to want to know why. And I think a lot of people are scared to know what that is. Because again, it goes into avoiding the hard, avoiding the challenge, avoiding the pain. I think root cause of all of what we are seeing in the world today, whether friends or family, friends, work, the biggest scale in the country right now is unhealed pain.
Yeah. And you know what makes it worse also is that no one is listening.
Right.
It's so noisy out there. So even if, you're half self-aware, it's almost like there's really nobody there to pour it out to. And I feel like that's why we need people like you, coaches like you, that can just help us, give us that listening ear and help us just dig deeper, because everybody's busy,
right?
With their own lives. And, so.
I think a lot of people are looking for external answers versus going internal. Going inside. And so for me as a coach, I mean, I'm certainly here to hold up a mirror for my clients, and I'm asking you to look. A lot of people don't want to look in the mirror. Or a lot of people look in the mirror, but they don't see themselves in the mirror.
Ooh, okay. That one is.
Okay. That's what I believe.
Wow.
And when because they're scared to find out who are they if they do. That's where the power is, though. That's where the magic is.
Let's dig into that a little bit. They don't see themselves. That is very deep. It's very powerful because,
yeah,
I don't even know.
Because I'm not here to give you any answers. If I can tap into the questions that get you those answers, I mean, that's where it's at.
Yeah.
Because everything you want is within you.
Yeah.
It's just been buried potentially under, generational patterns, society, cultural things. It's just buried. The magic's within all of us. And I am thrilled to get to work with clients, or when I speak and start to see that in them, or them start to, lean in with their own curiosity to like, oh, okay, he's in there, she's in there. You just have to be ready. I can't want it more than you want it. And that's for anybody.
Yeah.
Like, I can't help you more than you have to be willing and want to help yourself. And I think that was a key difference for when I was going through my hard 7 years ago and felt, I was crying in my car every day. Everybody needs help or support of some sort. You have to want it.
Yeah.
And I wanted it. I knew what I was doing was not going to continue to serve me well.
Right. Wow. Okay. So I'm imagining someone sitting, listening to this or watching this and saying, I'm ready. I've asked myself the why, and I need help. How can you help them?
First, I celebrate that. Okay. I want them to celebrate that. That's huge. And that's a huge reason why I called my company Just Commit. Because I get asked that a lot. Like, love your name. Where'd you get it? Where'd you come up with that? And I'm asking, when I start to work with clients, I'm asking you to just commit. That sounds easy. Nothing about it is, but nothing worth it is.
Yeah.
And just committing it's one decision, one choice at a time. It's one day at a time. It's 1% at a time. That's my encouragement to folks, is kind of shift your mindset and thinking, oh, okay, I know I want to get to this. I want to be at a 10 at everything. And maybe right now you're feeling like you're at a 2. Well, getting to a 10 may feel overwhelming and take a lot of steps. And that may be true. What does it look like to get to a 3? Right? What does it look like to then get to a 4 and start to explore that? It's really looking at it and knowing we're taking small steps together. And another big piece of what I've learned by being a coach, and what I know has helped support me as a client of several coaches over the last few years, is the accountability piece. Yeah. So not only am I going to hold you accountable to the things, the steps and things and tools to try on each and every day and each and every week, And it's celebrating those things, because it's fascinating to me when I connect with a client after a week or every other week, whatever that looks like. It gets better through time, our time together. But even after the first couple of times, the first question I always ask clients is like, what are you celebrating today? Talk about how quick we forget to do that. Again, we're so hardwired for the negative that like I've seen it several times where it takes them a second to shift their mind and say, because we want to focus on all the things we didn't do.
Right.
But then when they start to rattle off the things they've done, I'm like, are you kidding me?
Wow.
You just rattled off eight things that you could be celebrating that you did for yourself this last week.
Wow.
So keeping in mind, like, it's hard to upgrade our habits and our behaviors, right? Like but it's what we do when we, on the days where it's like, man, I had a 5-day streak of meditating, right? Or a 10-day streak or of working out, or in the day that we don't, what do you do to get yourself motivated to do it again the next day? Do you beat yourself up because you broke your streak? Or do you get back up and do it again and celebrate yourself because you did it again? There's so much there. I know I just said a whole lot there. But it's the accountability that I give my clients, as well as celebrating you, never forgetting that, shifting the mindset, coming back to who you are. And that's another point, I think, is we all forget who we are because we're tied to what we do.
Yeah.
All the roles we play.
Titles and that.
And so when it's fascinating when I ask somebody, who are you? The easy answer for everybody is, oh, I'm a mom, I'm a spouse, I'm a executive here, I'm this or that. And it's like, no, those are all titles. Those are all roles that you play. Who are you? Tears come up more than not.
Wow.
It's bringing them back to the qualities they have, the gifts, the strengths. Lead with those.
Okay. Wow. So I know you have another masterclass coming up.
I do.
You got to tell us about that, because I know I'm going to join it, and I know there's so many people listening out there like, okay, I need a taste of this.
Thank you. Then thank you for showing up to my first masterclass last month. And
I learned so much. Like, I'm even keeping my legacy. I'm keeping my kids, learning. So yes.
I appreciate that a lot. So my next masterclass is March 18th. It's on a Tuesday at 12 p.m. again, so lunchtime. And it's all about self-care is such a huge word, and it means so much more than I think we think that it does. And so I'm going to be providing strategies and tools that you can use to prioritize yourself without guilt. Because a lot of times what I hear is, well, I don't have time.
Yes.
Well, when you change that word time with priority, that hits different. Because a lot of times you're saying you don't have time for you. Well, I don't have time to get a workout in today. I don't have time to go for a quick walk in between meetings. I don't have time to whatever that next, whatever that answer is for you. It's like, well, I'm not making that a priority. I'm not making myself a priority for doing the workout or going for that walk or choosing a better food versus the convenience of running through, whatever that is. Right. It changes. So what are, being able to provide certain strategies and ways of being able to give that to yourself without guilt, because you can't, there's a famous quote that I heard where it's like, we're giving those we love the rest of us versus the best of us.
Ooh, I'm so guilty.
What? So why do we not want to give everybody we love the best of us? Why do we, as women, we always leave us for last?
Yeah.
That doesn't serve anyone.
Yeah. Well,
so that's my next masterclass, and what I'm excited to help, share with women and empower them and empower your, women like you, why it's so important to put yourself first.
Well, thank you. And I cannot wait to come again. So make sure you mark your calendar. All the details will be in the show notes. But how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, thank you. So I created the Just Commit community. And so if you go to my website and enter in your email, you'll see bi-monthly communication from me with masterclasses that are coming up. I offer small group coaching programs. So my next cohort starts April 1st.
Ooh, April 1st.
So if you're interested in that, hook up with me for a complimentary call to explore that further. And I'm most active on LinkedIn. So find me on LinkedIn. I post there most every day of the week. So
wow. Thank you so much for your time today. I feel like you have helped me even more so than the last time. And I'm sure a lot of people can say the same thing too.
Thanks so much for having me. I just want to share what I've learned in my life lessons because I'm not special, and the fact that I've experienced tough or hard or loss or grief, it's all universal. I have found just healthier ways to help myself and others move forward in a healthier way, in a more positive way.
It's wonderful. So my question as we leave today is, ask yourself, whatever you're doing right now, why? Why are you doing that? And if you don't have an answer for that, then you need to contact Jennifer or show up at that masterclass. Or in case you're watching this after the masterclass is over, get on our website and seek out resources to help you dig deeper to answer that question for you. Until next time, I hope you find your why. Take care.